Good evening, everyone. Continuing to the fourth day of Internship Training Week, brought to you by Communiqué IIT Kharagpur. I'm Satakshi Chauhan, and I'm thrilled to be hosting today's panel discussion with Piyush Sharma. Today, we'll be diving into the fascinating world of core, and we hope this discussion covers all the questions and give you all the info you need. At the end, we will be holding a Q&A session to address any remaining queries.
In today's session, we are joined by a highly competent panel of experts from IIT Kharagpur. It gives me a huge pleasure to introduce them to you. First, we have with us Ms. Suvetha, who got an intern in Dr. Reddy's laboratory. Suvetha, please introduce yourself to the audience.
So hello everyone. Now this is Sweta. I recently graduated from IIT Kharagpur with a BTech in chemical engineering. I interned with Dr. Reddy's last summer in its manufacturing role at a center near Vizag, Andhra Pradesh.
Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Priyanshu Gautam, who got an intern in Qualcomm. Priyanshu, would you like to introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah. Hey, hi everyone. My name is Priyanshu Gautam. I'm in my fifth year. I'm in the ENDC department. I'm doing my specialization in communications and signal processing. And yeah, as I told, I'm doing my intern at Qualcomm right now.
Thank you. Our final panelist for the discussion is Mr. Sayantan Sarkar, who got an intern in Jaguar Land Rover. Sayantan, would you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Good evening, guys. My name is Shayantan Sarkar. I just completed my third year of study in mechanical engineering department in BTech course. So this is my last year, and I am from Howrah, West Bengal, and border of JCB Howrah residents. So in Jaguar Land Rover, I am in the mechatronics profile. Here it is called EBC, engineering body and chassis.
Thank you, Sayantan.
Before starting the discussion, I would like to congratulate the panelists for their achievements. We are looking forward to learning a lot from you. So starting the panel discussion, the first question is, given that the software and data roles are often the most talked about and in vogue, what motivated you to choose a core profile instead? Savita, would you like to begin?
Yeah, sure. When I initially joined IIT Kharagpur, I was very much oriented with research, and then I heard a lot about all this profiles, core and core data, and then software, and then consult product and everything. So I gathered information from all of my seniors, and the core actually interested me a lot. So initially my plan was to pursue higher education, but when the CDC times came nearby, so I understood that my probably my interest for now was more towards the R&D side. So I had learned I had also learned coding and then tried different projects based on product and other things. So core was something that I found very interesting, and I didn't have much interest in doing something other than what I actually learned. So chemical engineering was something that I really wanted to pursue, and then that is why I opted it in IIT Kharagpur. So that was my motivation behind core.
Yanshu, would you like to add something to it?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, like one of the reasons that Suvetha mentioned, that's actually pretty correct, that I also had that feeling that whatever I'm studying should be the one I would be working in. That made more sense to me. And secondly, like as you talked about in the question, everyone was doing software and data. So that actually reinforced my decision, because like I truly believe that you can really stand out in a race if you are the only one running. So that would actually make things easier. And like I usually go to class pretty regularly, so going into core as internships and a professional career path was a natural choice.
Thank you for the wonderful answer.
Looking forward to the next question. When crafting a CV for a core profile, what specific element should be highlighted to make a CV stand out among others? Sayantan, would you like to take it first?
Sure. Like for a core profile, yeah, so in ERP, you are allowed to make 3 CVs at most. So yeah, you can make a CV just dedicated to code and upload it only to the coding companies coming there. And yeah, like for core profile, what I think is the most important thing that they look is the projects you have done or internships you have done earlier, and the competitions you have participated in. If you have participated in some design hackathons, those kind of thing. So yeah, those are obviously advantage over the others.
Sweta, would you like to add something?
Oh yeah, so basically, as Sayantan mentioned, the basic things, the major thing they look for is internships and projects. But when it comes to chemical and mechanical or electrical per se, like when you apply for companies based on core as well as supply chain, so there your PORs also play a major role. So they look for what kind of POS you've had in your past. So it becomes important for you to highlight those parts as well. And sometimes these companies, supply chain companies, also look for your extracurriculars. Yeah.
As CV is such an important part, so how much time before you started to create your CV for different profiles you have chosen?
So
Priyanshu,
should
would
I
you like
take
to?
the question? Yeah. So okay, so like in my case, I started preparing my CV. Like I actually didn't prepare a different CV for CDC, so I already had my CV prepared. I just uploaded it to the CDC portal whenever it got on. So like whenever the date was, and that was I guess around in June, sometime in June. Don't exactly remember. Also, like making a CV for core profile, I would like to highlight some points that I felt are very important. So especially in the people that are targeting core electronics roles or like core electrical roles. As Anthony mentioned, you should add projects, and the projects should be meaningful. So, like, now the natural question is, how do you get a meaningful project that you can add to your CV? So, like anything that actually heightens your curiosity can result to a very good project. So, like if I take electronics by example, there can be a lot of things like right now there's a lot of AI boom due to which there is a lot of funds and actually, I mean, natural genuine interest in GPUs and let's say hardware accelerators. So anything that you can do in line of these things, inspired by your curiosity, will end up in a good project that you can add in your CV. Then there are other projects also like course projects that you can add. And yeah, as Sweta mentioned, PORs also can play a good role. So in my case, like I had my PORs for Inter-IIT. I did a hardware related event there. So that actually guided my interview through pretty well. Yeah, that I think would be good. Making the CV actually, there's one more part to CV making. So like once you make the CV, it's very important that you get it verified. And there is a very like nice way, like I read, I think in one of Aryan's post on LinkedIn. So like here, there, he mentions that whenever you make your CV for the first draft, send it to your friends to get it verified. They'll get you the most obvious errors, then go to your seniors. They'll like in your profile, they'll tell you what to do in your CV, how to make it stand out better. And then the third thing, which rarely guys do, is reach out to alums that are working in companies you are targeting. So that would actually give you a very first-hand experience in what the like recruiter is looking for. So if you do your CV verification in these three steps, it would be really nice. So I would advise people to go through these steps.
Thank you, Priyanshu. Additionally, how important are online courses in enhancing your qualifications for such roles?
Okay, so I would
Yeah.
like to just take a. So for like online courses, if you think that there are some points in the CV for which you require in-depth knowledge, because whatever you are adding in CV, be it small or big, you should plan out the extremist questions that can be possible from that thing. So what we call a CV grill. So yeah, when you give your friends for that CV review, then you should ask your friends to conduct a mock interview, or maybe your seniors also. So like all the types of questions that can be obtained from that CV. So if you're doing online courses and you are gaining knowledge on that, then you can maybe better about that specific thing. So yeah, you can add it like in the course section. If you add this term called MOOCs, so MOOCs, on that you can add the online courses that you do. Yeah.
And
Thank you for your valuable inputs. Yes, Priyanshu.
uh, yeah, so like exactly what Sayantan said, the online courses do actually make sense if you have a particular goal in mind. So I would not advise you to go out looking for courses just to add it in your CV. first make a goal and then look out for a course that actually fulfills your goal and your CV. And I think coursework that you did in your department actually like is a very great point of discussion in the interview. So like my interview had a lot of discussion on what courses I did and wrote in my CV. So even if you do not do online courses or can't find any, it's completely natural.
Thank you.
Moving on to the next question. How many projects or internships should one ideally have to be competitive enough for core profile? Chandan, would you like to begin?
Yeah, so projects and internships, like upon projects and internships, if you have like 3 to 4 projects or like combining projects and internships, if you have 3 to 4 of that points in that column, then it's enough. But like even if you do 1 or 2 projects, maybe under professor course projects or maybe your self projects, that also do count, and they're also very like attractive to the interviewers. So yeah, whatever you write, you should have mentioned the important results that you have, the meaningful results that you have obtained, like how did you approach the project, like all the important points that you want to be highlighted when you are appearing for an interview. Because yeah, so whatever you're doing, you should show that you have done a meaningful contribution to that work and you have obtained what you have targeted. So 3 to 4 is okay.
Yashi, would you like to add something to it?
No, actually, like Sayantan summed up pretty well. Like at this point, I actually uh, just thought of a quote. So, if you have heard of Gardner, so he actually tells this that excellence is doing ordinary things in an extraordinary way. So, I would say that you do not have to find projects that look extraordinary. You can do even your lab experiments in such a way that actually like reflect in your CV, and you can go the extra mile and do something extra, and then whatever results you can like add it in your CV. That would make for a good CV and a good project.
Can you all maybe mention the projects and the internship that you all did to get into this field?
Uh, so if I start, then in my CV at the time of the internships, I had one hackathon that was the DVCon hackathon. In there, the work was related to computer architecture itself, and it was on FPGAs. Like last year, it didn't happen, so this year I don't know whether it would happen or not. But yeah, other than that, one project that I did under a professor that was related to control systems. And the third was, I think, my DIY project that was also hardware based. So I added that. A DIY project can be a good addition. I figured that out. Like first year, everybody do DIY, so like they can add it in your CV if you have done a pretty good job.
Uh, thank you, Priyanshu. Savita, would you like to share yours,
Yeah,
projects and
so
internships?
yeah. So I had one internship with this organization called Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research. So that was like an industrial internship, and I had a project under professor that was mostly research based. And then yeah, I also added the DIY project and few other competitions which I had like one like which had gone to the national level pretty much in the school level. So for me it was okay because I was in my second year and then we had not begun offline semester completely. So in that case, it was okay for me to mention those competitions as well. So yeah, so other point that I wanted to add regarding this thing is that like the companies look out differently for the BTech guys and the dual guys. So for the BTech guys, if you even have 2 to 3 internships plus projects summed up, it is like quite a good number. And it's like mostly based on how you display your work, what contribution you have made to the project or internship more than how big the project or internship is. So that's some input I got from my series.
Chandan, would you like to share yours?
Yeah. So like I was a part of many research groups and Formula Student team. So yeah, like I
Mhm.
was a part of Team Card. So I did a considerable work in there for first and second year. So I could write a lot of things on that. I also added my work in KRSSG in ARK. And I also did a project regarding carbon fiber under a professor of aerospace department. And I did a like vehicle dynamics modeling project. I joined it very lately in summer only. I did it under ATTC. So these were the projects I had. I also added the like this kind of management as a POR too. So yeah, that's all. I didn't have an internship.
Okay, thank you. Uh, can you maybe share us the resources of your projects respectively, where you got those resources from?
Okay, so if I start with it, yeah, sure.
No, so actually, I wanted to understand the question, resources for projects, as in what exactly?
As in, like, what resources did you refer to for, like, for starting your project or working on it?
Okay. Yeah, you can go. I'll have to frame you.
Okay, so for projects under professors, I would say you go to the website of KGP, and there you can find the bio of the professors where they mention the current projects they're working upon, and sometimes they're also not very updated. So you can there are some professors that actually have taken your courses, or you know that what field they're working on specifically of your department. So you can approach them. You maybe mail them about if you have already done the course under him, then you mention your grade and you show that you have interest in that field that he's working upon, and you share that I have read these research papers, I have gained these other current work that is going on in this field. So yeah, if you approach in that way, you frame a mail and send to them, then maybe that's a good thing. Or you can actually approach professors, but after I would say just mail them and then you personally meet them. It will be good.
Okay, thank you so much. Savita, would you like to continue with it?
Yeah, so one point that I like to add is that it's also good if you know the TAs working under the professors, because they'll have really good idea of what different fields the professor is actually working on currently. So that is the thing. And for industrial internships, you can go to the websites and see different programs under which these companies or other organizations actually hire interns, and then you can mail them stating your year and courses you've taken up with a sample resume, and then what things you're actually interested in working under them.
I think that was very informative. Thank you so much for the answer.
So moving forward, it is well known that one should opt a core profile when they have a high CG. So what are your thoughts on it? Priyanshu, would you like to start?
Okay, so actually, I would really want to make this point here that if you're opting for core profile, what I learned from my experience is that if you're opting for a profile, any profile, then you shouldn't look at in the perspective of landing an intern or a placement. Sure that if you land an intern or a placement, it's a very good thing. Actually, you'll have some experience working in corporate, but if you're really choosing a profile, then choose it out of your interest. And it can happen that you do not land an intern. Even in that case, keep your head high and you can actually get to whatever you want. So as far as importance of CG is considered, if you want to land an intern, then CG actually plays a good enough role. But there are always corner cases. So if you're interested and have actually chosen hardware profile due to your interest, then I would say that I can give you two examples right now that I know personally. So both of them had, I would not say a high CG that you'd think that you should have for going into core. One person didn't get a CDC intern due to the CG, but then then he managed to go to Canada under my tax program, and then he also landed a placement in this placement season. So I would say that importance of CG is only if you want to get an intern, but then intern also depends on a lot of other factors. So having a good CG always is a positive. But I would say that if you have good interest, then you should pursue core profile anyway, irrespective of your CG.
Santhan, would you like to add more to it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, CG is obviously a factor because this is the parameter through which they judge how serious you are in your academics. So yeah, if you don't have that much considerable amount of projects in your CV, then they ask questions from code only. So if you are not serious in academics, so maybe you can miss out those. But yeah, like at this point, if you are appearing in CDC this year, obviously you don't have a hand in increasing CG this time. So like, don't get down. So yeah, but yeah, above 8.5, it really helps in getting a core CG, but below that it works. But for those who are yet like everyone has to sit in placements of course. So yeah, try to keep it above 8 because for core, even for my tax, it is important to keep it above 8.5. And for Dart and all, it's like they prefer high CG guys 9.2 plus those kind of. So keeping a CG is obviously an added advantage.
So if someone is not having a high CG, a cutoff type, so what extra should he do to cope up with it? I think the internship or project.
See, if like I know guys who secured internships at CG of 7.3 and 7.2, okay. So like if you have sacrificed your CG by doing more things, actual hands-on things in code, then that's obviously much more important, like has much more weightage than your CG. So if you have less CG, then in the interview, if you get selected, they also ask that why do you have this less CG? Because they know that he has caliber. So if you can say that like my CG has dropped down due to my serious involvement in these things. So yeah, that's obviously a nice thing to do.
Thank you. It was quite insightful.
Jumping on to the next question. Did you also prepare for the non-core profile job and consider it your plan B?
Should I take up?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so like actually I did think about software and consulting for one at the start of the summer last year. But like software was a pretty big profile and I couldn't see myself getting through it along with course. So like as a secondary profile, so I dropped that. And after talking to seniors and alums, I also figured out that consult, my profile was not strong enough in consult to have it as backup. So I just moved forward with code. And pursuing higher education, actually, like not until coming here that I thought that maybe pursuing higher education might be an option, but yeah, it's open. So like right now, maybe in the future, I do not know what the future holds for me, but you should be open to every other opportunity. Maybe you turn your mind someday. So yeah, definitely one of the options.
Thank you so much, Priyanshu. So, Veda, would you like to add something to it?
Yeah, sure. Like actually, back during my internship, CDC internship time, so like I was not pretty much interested in any other profile, and then I would thank my family for not forcing me into like having a backup. So I was pretty sure. Like I still remember, I just had applied for 5 companies during my internship time. So I was sure, like if I couldn't get into the CDC internship thing, like I had other backup options like applying for research internships or like probably my tech or something. So like I would advise you to not give up on your interest just because like you would be left out when other friends of yours get an CDC internship. So regarding higher education, as I already mentioned, so initially when I entered IIT, I wanted to do higher, but like gradually I thought like that was my long-term plan. I didn't want to immediately do an MS or PhD after my BTech. So yeah, probably I'll look about that in the future. So as of now, like I'd like to explore more other such profiles in code and basically get some experience.
So, Priyanshu and Sandan, did you also consider about getting into a higher education?
Yes,
Talking about me, yeah, sure. So about higher education, yeah, it was one of my options even now. So yeah, like for higher education, if you want to pursue, that's obviously like if you have true interest in core, so you can obviously pursue higher education. There are lots of scope in research these days. If you go to MSN, go for MSN, that's obviously an option.
Priyanshu, would you like to add something?
No, nothing. Right.
Okay. Thank you for the insightful answer. As someone who has successfully navigated internships in core profile, could you provide insights into how aspiring interns can best prepare themselves for such roles? Additionally, what are some crucial do's and don'ts that you would recommend for individual entering this field?
So I would like to start. Yeah. So, like for the do's and don'ts you mentioned, so do's are like pretty limited. So, like all the basics you tick off, you have a good basic understanding of the concepts. For electronics, you'll have to learn analog, digital, signal processing, and computer architecture. So, like computer architecture, actually, it depends. So, like if you're a BTech guy, it's actually an option for you. But I would say that you can learn it anyway. I mean, if you're interested, it's a pretty good field. So if you have not been taught in KGP a course and you do it on your own, it's always an advantage. So you can do that. Other than that, for the do's, actually, I mean, it's just that you hope for the best and prepare for the worst. So like that would pretty much sum it. For the don'ts, actually, I would say ki, don't corner yourself off from non-core profiles. So like what I've seen usually in guys that seriously prepare for core profiles like let's say analog digital, they actually do not like coding at all or do not like let's say AI and ML kind of stuff. But what I recently figured out here in my internship also and from people that it's not usually the line between, I mean, core and non-core is usually blurred. And you'll come here in your interns, usually interns do not have any specific work. So like your teams would have their own work and they'll assign you some work, but it would usually be petty work. So in Python or something. So I would really say that do not create an aversion for yourself from coding or let's say AI and ML if you're going into core electronics. Do them hand to hand, do them parallelly. Like take a taste of all the things that you can get your hands on, and then like you can always incorporate it into your CV or into your work. So if you know stuff, it's always better. Yeah, that's it.
So Veda, would you like to share some do's and don'ts for getting into core profile of chemical department?
Sure. Like if you look forward to get an CDC based internship, so it's usually advised that you have a company specific preparation because like the chemical field is very broad. You cannot sit preparing all the subjects that you have learned so far. So it basically boiled down to few courses which are very much important in the industry, and then few topics which are mostly used in the industry. So your prepare like you having basic knowledge of all this is like very much sufficient. And other things is that like you need to have very good communication skills. It's not about English, like how well you can communicate what you're thinking and what like basically how you can express your point. So yeah, so most of the supply chain based companies and like core companies, they have some round called the group discussion round. So in that you need to have knowledge of basically current affairs or like some common topic. And some in some cases you have technical based theory. So you need to be aware of some particular topic in chemical engineering based on which industry based topic will be given, and then you need to express your ideas, and in a group you need to come up with a solution. So yeah, that would be helpful. And yeah, so have a very good CV, and then for the HR rounds you can have a good introduction, like, and then what questions are usually asked. And I think there's a book called the 80 HR questions, something like that. So you can refer up like what are the model answers, and then you can have some pointers ready with you before you go for the interview.
Then would you like to add something about the mechanical department?
Yeah, sure. For the mechanical department also, it's a very vast field. So like there are section of students that especially like design manufacturing kind of stuff. There are students that like fluids, thermodynamics, this kind of things. So yeah, it's also very broad. So like adding to both of you, it's like whatever thing you prepare for, you should have an in-depth knowledge about that. So suppose like me, I have appeared in my end of the second year. So I did some of the manufacturing and design too in my research groups. So there are some basic stuff that are taught in the third year. So if you're a fourth-year student, I would say just take up some concepts from the sub-subjects like design of machine elements, like kinematics of machines, those kind of things. The only important things that you need to support your projects. And it's that, as I said, Like it's not like if you are in mechanical, you should only do core mechanical. Talking specifically of JLR also has a coding round. So you have to be at least some handy in the coding skills to pass that test. And also, like, I have completed 4 weeks of my internship. So I know what type of work is done here. It's like all about different types of coding. So even I do my 60%, 70% of my job in doing embedded hardware kind of stuff, reading datasheets all the time and making those things. So yeah, and some of my friends in mechatronics also, they are developing apps in MATLAB. So yeah, like you should not have an aversion towards coding. So yeah, you should have an hands-on knowledge on everything. Whatever you learn, yeah, that's obviously an added advantage. And during the interview, whatever thought process you are having, just speak with yourself so that you can communicate better with the interview. So communication is also a very vital skill.
Thank you so much for sharing your invaluable inputs and discussing about the do's and don'ts.
Continuing further to the next question. At the end of their third year, students have an option to switch over from BTech to a dual degree. How much does this switchover help building their core profile, and what are the benefits of doing so? Priyanshu, would you like to start?
So like BTech to dual degree. So in my opinion, I think if you do dual degree, you'll always get more time on your hands. And that is a very lucrative thing to have in KGP, because like people, when they finish their third year, they think like in their second years or during internships when they sit in the second year, they think that if we would have more time, then we'll get to know things better and do stuff. But usually, like in my opinion, what happens is that time is only valuable or necessary, I would say, when you know exactly what you need to do while staying in KGP. So like I can think of some things that you can do with more time. So you'll obviously have more times to land, let's say, 1 or 2 more POs. And even you can do a good research work here in KGP. But in my opinion, usually I do not advise people to actually convert from BTech to dual. You always have better options going out of IIT, like out of India, even if you want to. MTechs, if you need to go to MTech or PhD, there are a lot of better options out of India. Or like in India, there's IT itself, but like if you are from an IT, then you can do a level up and go to, let's say, world's best universities in electronics. You'll definitely gain more exposure and more experience there. So yeah, there are both sides of the story. In my opinion, like people shouldn't, but yeah, people have their opinions to do it also.
So, Vita, would you like to add something?
Yeah, so it's the same thing like Priyanshu said. So the thing is, like when you go for a switch over, the company start expecting more from you because you have extra year in hand when compared to the BTech guys, right? So even though your internships and projects are very good, but probably they may not prefer you over the BTech guys. That is one thing I've observed in like the companies which come to hire chemical engineer. The other thing is that, like, yeah, if you're very not very sure of what you want to do, please don't go for a switchover unless, like, if you're very sure, it will be a very helpful thing because there are other specifications that could be helpful. But for core, I wouldn't advise because, like, what I generally felt, at least for chemical, is that the specifications here are not very great. So, like, I wouldn't prefer wasting 1 year of mine here. Probably I'll go, like, probably I'll get an industry exposure or use it for like some other kind of preparation or like probably hires.
So, there is some preference between BTech or dual degree students among the companies. So, they prefer
Yeah,
more to work.
yeah. So no, I mean they expect more from dual degree people because you have one extra year in hand. So they expect more in every aspect. The other thing is that like from the company's point of view, the companies need to pay more for the dual guys because they have higher qualification, right? They have 2 degrees in hand. So when you're being hired as a full-time employee, they need to pay you more. So probably they wouldn't prefer that. But yeah, this trend keeps changing, but generally this has been observed.
Also, is the selection process different for a BTech or a dual degree student, or do they conduct different question or round of selections? So, Anton, would you
Uh,
like to?
yes, and
Yeah, so the selection is same for both BTech and dual degree students. So like it's all boils down to the same thing as Suveta said that yeah, for BTech students the syllabus is limited. So obviously the interview has more expectations for dual degree guys than there is for BTech. And one more thing I want to add to that switchover thing, that many people, like I observed my friends that for not getting CTC, they have opted for a switchover forcefully. I don't know why, but yeah, okay. I would say that only for getting another chance in CTC, just don't switch over unless you are really interested in that department you are pursuing your honors in. So yeah, so just don't. CTC is not the end of life. It's just an internship selection process. That's it.
So
Thank you.
like
Yes.
yeah, so like actually what I wanted to add that in dual degree the selection process is exactly the same. There is a dual bias of some companies that come for electronics, but then like they come here and then they see that there's like the bias, like they people usually have this. So in JLR actually it's completely different. JLR usually prefers BTech people more than dual people. So that's something I've seen from electronics department especially. And then there are some companies like, let's say, ADI and NXP. TSMC prefers only PhDs, but like other than that, yeah, ADI and XPs, on both of them prefer dual degree guys more than BTech people. Yeah, pretty much.
Thank you. These answers was very enlightening.
Skipping over to the next question. Coding has become one of the most demanded and appreciated skills in engineers. But there still is a dilemma regarding its usage in core profile. How much coding is required for core profile and how to prepare for it? Priyanshu, would you like to begin?
So yeah, I mean, if I talk about electronics, then coding is actually necessary, I would say. I mean, you'll have to do C coding and Verilog coding. Like if you go into VLSI kind of stuff, that's the majority of the people that go like that choose core electronics that go into VLSI kind of stuff. It's so Verilog and C is a must. You should know basics of programming. And as I said in my previous answer, you should never create an aversion to coding. That would really hurt you in the long run, because whatever you do here would be in some kind of a system and you'll do coding in some way or the other. So like running away from it, there's no running away from it. You'll have to face it someday. So better to like start learning. You wouldn't need coding in the selection process, I would say, but then you should have a basic grasp of what programming is and how it works, and like how you can write basic C programs or even let's say Verilog programs. So that would help. Yeah.
So, Veda, would you like to add if coding is also affected in the core profile jobs for chemical department?
I mean, it's not a necessity for you to do coding, but then it's very helpful if you know coding, because, like, even in your curriculum, you have a lot of other softwares wherein you need to code, like, be it be MATLAB or other simulation based things, or modeling a problem. So all this actually requires coding knowledge, and it's actually helpful for you to know all this AI stuff and deep learning and everything if you have good knowledge of it, because like now in the industry is actually moving towards this industry 4.0, right? So like people are looking for IoT and then automation basically. So it's good if you have knowledge of this. What other thing I observed is that even people in the industry, like senior officers who are not aware of this coding thing, they are being made to learn, like get a good idea of this, like they by providing some kind of courses. So like because industries are moving to the next level, so it is like you will always have a upper hand if you know all this, and then it becomes mandatory for you to know, because like at least for chemical, like as you approach the third and fourth year, there are many courses wherein you need to know like basic algorithms wherein you can code, and then I mean not high level coding, of course the basic ones like Python, MATLAB, all this would help.
Thank you, Savita. Santan, would you like to add something?
Yeah, so as I already said something of it. So yeah, I'll just add to their points, obviously. So like some bit of MATLAB and like MATLAB coding, it helps. And in Jailer, as I mentioned, it has a coding knowledge. So you need to have some basic knowledge of it. And it's like, as Sweta said, like industry is moving into whole new automation. And there are a lot of software stuff involved even in the core mechanical. So as I observed here that what happened previously was that the mechanical guys used just to do the hardware and they had to hire external software firms to do the software coding part of thing, and this actually increased the total manufacturing cost and all those things. So currently, what they're trying to do is do some part of it yourself at least, understand the basic stuff involved in it, and then you can approach the software guys. You can see what they are doing and all those things. So yeah, they prefer guys that know a little bit of coding so that they can carry on the stuff. So yeah, you can obviously learn coding as a passion. If not, you are opting for SD. So yeah, coding is you can do that. It's good.
Thank you so much for the invaluable answer.
Moving to the next question. Reflecting on your internship experience can provide valuable insights in your future growth. Can you share some mistakes that you believe you made during your internship season? So, Veda, would you like to start?
During my internship season, sales, the one big mistake that I made was like I panicked a lot because I was in my second year back then, and then I was like really worried if I would be able to secure a CDC internship or not. So I mean, you need not consider CDC as the end of the world because you have a lot of other opportunities out there. So that was one mistake I made. So probably if I was a bit more chill, I could have performed way better. Some mistake that I did in my internship was that I overworked a lot. Like, I mean, I overexerted myself. Like, I probably did not need to work so much for the company because it's just an internship thing. So basically, like, you need to work. Like, always ensure that you're getting something out of the company and you're giving something to the company as well.
Santhan, would you like to add any mistakes that you feel you made in your internship seasons?
Yeah, sure. So, like, procrastination is the biggest mistake I would say. So, like, the semester ended and then the summer started. It felt like we had a lot of time, but slowly, the CV making process also started, and the time got very less. And because, as I said, I appeared as a 4 year student, so I had to cover some of the third year subjects as well. So yeah, procrastination, don't do that. Okay, and yes, that's pretty much it. And what not to do, I would say that sometimes you feel like starting your CTC preparation in the semester, and your fourth sem or sixth sem, those CG actually falls down. So don't do that. You can start off in the summer itself. And one more mistake that I did that, but many people doesn't do that. After making your CV, please do it to verify it from your seniors, from your friends, and everyone, and like ask them to take mock interview of you. Like if I say for myself, my final CV that I uploaded was a 20-second iteration. Okay, so like I sent to various of my society seniors, my friends, and all. They gave many feedback because for many people the perspective are different, and yeah, so you follow the basic CV making rules and all. That actually helps. CV is involved in 30% of your selection. I would add to that point. I didn't agree that before, but yeah, that's true.
Thank you. That provided a lot of understanding. For the final question, due to recession and slowing global markets, many people couldn't get interns and sometimes offer being revoked. So, what steps should we take when we face a situation of being unable to secure an internship? Priyanshu, would you prefer to start?
Of course. I mean, so like actually, I mean, offers being revoked, and the second thing, like not landing an intern. So as Suvita mentioned in her last answer, not landing an intern, I completely understand why it would feel a pretty big thing when it happens. But trust me, well, all my peers, like almost all my peers who are here doing an hardware internship, aren't doing, let's say, a lot of work. So like we do like the stuff we do in KJP, we're occupied almost always. But here in interns, like the kind of work they give, like almost in every hardware company is petty work. Like you actually do not need any high IQ or something to do that. So you're not missing out on anything, not landing an intern. You just miss out on, let's say, traveling on company expenses and living it. So you can very well make up for it by doing a very good intern and like under a professor, or even in some other research program like my tax or that. So that can be very well taken care of. So I would say that if anybody does not land a core intern, and that would happen because like many people apply for core interns, and like global recession is going on, and it like every company is being hit by it. So like that would happen. You should have in mind what you would do if you are not able to land an intern. Second thing, offers being revoked. I mean, like that for interns is a pretty rare thing, but I mean, it happens, and it's crazy. I mean, like at that point, so my offer was revoked. Like for EPT, like they revoked my offer in February. So like at that time, it was pretty stressful. Obviously, during midsems, the news came. So what you need to do, like what I figured out 2 months, like I got my interns after 2 months in Qualcomm. So during those 2 months, I figured out that there are some things that you just don't do after, let's say you don't land an intern or your offer gets revoked. You should never do a self doubt. I mean, like self doubt is a pretty useless thing to have because even if you make it, you'll have to then wake up the next day and do the same things all over again. And even if you do not make it, you'll have to do the same thing. Things do not change. Like we move forward in such a fashion, like we'll end up achieving a goal and then life would change. But that's not how life works. It actually just one thing after another. Life is actually in the journey. So you should just enjoy the journey, and CDC is a pretty random process. There's no point in basing your happiness on whether you land an intern or not. Landing an intern actually depends on a lot of factors that are not in your control. And realizing that you cannot control everything is like where humility comes in. And like I did not like I am that kind of a person that actually feels that I can, let's say, with my hard work and stuff, change my destiny or something. But like once that offer got revoked, I really got to understand what people mean when they say that you cannot change everything, everything's not in your control. So I would really like people to hear that. I mean, do what you're doing, maintain your interest, do like be truthful to yourself whenever you feel like uh, whatever you need to do it, and do not care about the things that you can't control. Always have your perspective in the way the things that you can control, and things would go pretty well. So like most of the cases, like in this time, the time is pretty bad, so it can happen that you do not land an intern or your offer gets removed. But understand that it's more about the timing rather than your capability. So never doubt yourself. That would be like the biggest injustice you could do to yourself, because that would actually build in a lot of guilt within you. And like always accept the pain that any situation brings to you, never accept the guilt. So like guilt actually has a lot of burden that it puts on you. It does not let you get out of bed in the morning. So like do not get guilt by yourself. Whatever you did, only take the pain and use that pain to fuel your discipline. Actually is very underrated. People usually go after motivation, but I would say motivation is something that fluctuates a lot. You should always bet yourself on discipline. Do things that you are supposed to do even if you don't want to, and in some time, whenever the time is right, whenever like things get in your favor, you'll get what you deserve. So hard work never falters. Always continue that path. Pretty much it here.
Thank you, Priyanshu. It is very inspiring how you converted a setback into an opportunity. Sweta, would you like to add more to it? Santhan, could you continue more in this question?
Disconnected because of
sure.
internet issues.
So yeah, it was beautifully put by Priyansha. He don't have any words after that, but yeah, like in core, in any profile, I would say it is very important to stay consistent. So it's not that every one of you will be selected in the first 4 weeks and all. CDC is a very long process, very tedious process, and very beautiful process because like it always gives you that motivation to continue your preparation and all. Just don't give up in the middle of the process. It is conducted in 2 phases. It's a very big process. It continued till April. It's 2 months before. So yeah, you obviously have many chances. And even if you don't get, just continue your preparation because every day you learn that adds to your knowledge. So don't give up. And rejection is just a part of the life. And like whatever you learn from the interview, whatever you learn from the test, just remember that because of course, learning from the mistakes is a big thing. And if you don't learn from the mistakes, you are at the same level. You are not improving yourself. So be positive about it. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Santan.
One
Also,
thing I would like to add, if there's time, like I just remembered. So, like usually, what happens is like people overdwell on their past, and like I mean, you blame your past a lot. I mean, there would be people who would think right now that you could have done that thing, or you could have done that lab or that subject pretty good, and you couldn't then you have to do it now. So people usually blame their past a lot. So I would say that there's this very famous quote where the person says that the right time to do anything was, let's say, whenever you're thinking, but the second best time is to do it right now. So just put your head down and do what you're supposed to do. That would actually turn out better. And like, don't let your past blackmail your present to ruin a beautiful future. I think it's line from some movie, but yeah, it fits perfectly well here.
also, as we know that core has not much opportunities like in software or data. So if someone was unable to get an internship, so is there enough time to change your profile to data or software?
So,
I mean, yeah, you can go.
No, you can.
Okay. So, I mean, if like you should make that decision pretty stern enough, like in the semester or let's say in the beginning of the summer vacations, the profile you want to take. I mean, you can go out with it throughout the year and get something. Like it's not that if you don't land a corporate intern, you won't get anything in the core profile. If you want to switch profiles, then that is also completely okay. But I'd say the time for it is not exactly in the third year or after you have sat for one CDC. It would be more in your first and second years, like in my point of view.
Santan, would you like to add to it?
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, because if you are in a core department where you actually deal with these core things in your semester itself, so what I have observed is even if you don't have any projects in your CV, then the interview asks just about the core questions. So the interviewer targets first to ask about your CV, whatever you have. Like if I say about myself, only 3 to 4 points of my CV covered around 1 hour 20 minutes of the interview. Okay, and that was my total interview. So yeah, like if you don't have that much products, then you can use your core knowledge skills. So I would say because ERP gives an option to make 3 CVs, then allot a CV only to the core field. You can use that because yeah, just with coding and whatever plan A you are having, you can carry on your core revision, whatever you have studied. So that will help if you want to switch over profiles after some amount of time. This CDC.
Thank you all for your motivating answers.
At last, respected panelists, would you like to give some advice to your juniors in your respective departments? Priyanshu, would you like to begin?
I mean, like I've given a lot of advice during the whole session. Like right now, I mean, there are three quotes that I live by actually. So I would just reiterate those that are like guiding philosophy of my life. So first is like work hard and party harder. So like work extremely hard for whatever you have in your mind, but like when the time comes to actually throw yourself a party and go do a party, then do not shy away from it. Work hard and party hard. Second, the thing like second is that think yourself, I mean, think that you cannot fail. Let's say you are given the superpower that you cannot fail, and then say to yourself, what would you do if you couldn't fail? That is really I mean, the first time I heard that quote was pretty inspiring, because usually it really reminds us of what shackles we have bound ourselves in. If you knew you couldn't fail, you'll dream a lot higher than what you're doing right now. So I mean, if you knew you couldn't fail, you wouldn't be looking for, let's say, an intern or a placement. You'll be actually looking to make a dent in the universe, as they say, or like do something bigger than that, do something like really impactful that you like, or let's say that in your eyes would make a greater impact. So like that is one thing. Third thing is like set your goals very high. I mean, do not settle for mediocrity because like you guys and IITians in general have been blessed with a lot of amenities and a lot of cushion and comfort. So it's our duty and responsibility to set our goals high. And it's not exactly for achieving them, because like set the goals high because of what it would make out of you. Because when you like Sundar Pichai said in one of his speeches, like if you aim for the sun, then you will end up landing on the moon. So I mean, that's what it is. Aim hugely high, and even if you fail, you'll end up getting pretty good somewhere. So like that three things I'd like to say.
Thank you so much, Priyanshu, for the advice. Shweta, would you like to add something?
So basically, I would advise everyone to like immerse yourself in whatever you're doing. I mean, like experience a lot of other things in KGP, not just securing an internship. It could be in terms of PRs and exports, anything. I mean, like put yourself in a lot of other things. Like basically, like enjoy the experience than the end goal. I would say. I mean, fix a goal, of course, and then work for it. Just see how you can work better for it. Don't pressurize yourself. Just give your best, and then take what you can from that and then enjoy the journey basically. So yeah, that is pretty much it. And like I mean, like whatever you get, don't regret for it. Just see how you can correct that in future.
Thank you, Shweta. Selman, would you like to add some final points into it?
Sure, that's pretty much sums up to their points. But yeah, just don't get stuck into your academics all the time just to get an internship. I would say that KJP offers a lot of opportunities. There are many competitions being organized, like Open IT, even product design, hardware modeling, case study, all those things. If you participate, even if you don't have any prior knowledge to that, that increases your presentation skills and all. There are many soft skills that you don't even recognize, but they actually help you in the long run. They actually help very much if it like improves your communication, your speaking skills, your presentation making skills. How do you sum up your CV and all those things? So another thing, coming to the CTC part, whatever you do, whatever competitions you participate in, just make the most of it and try to fit it into the CV as much as you can in that A4 page. So, and just as I said, like don't give up. There are a lot of opportunities coming by. There are MyTax and DAT too. There are a lot of core projects in that. So nothing is smaller than the other. So yeah, try to keep just don't lose your passion in code just if you don't get an internship in it. So it's a very beautiful field. There are a lot of opportunities, actual handy stuff. Here I see the depression that the software guys are having. So code is really very interesting. Like I enjoy a lot. So I would say just follow it. That's all. All the best. Everyone.
Thank you for the highly informative session. I'm confident that this will be extremely beneficial for our audience. We are excited to open the floor to questions from the Janta. Please take this opportunity to submit your questions in the chat box. We are looking forward to hearing from you.
I mean, if no questions are there right now, you guys can always reach us out on LinkedIn, Facebook, or like any other social media platform you can find us on. That is always open, obviously.
It seems that nobody has any other queries apart from the session. So let's move forward.
Thank you, panelists. We have almost reached to the end of our really insightful and informative event. I would ask panelists if there are some fun day or useful tips that may have been missed in the discussion tonight.
Not pretty much that I can remember right now. Okay, most of things are covered in.
Yeah, actually, like one thing that I'd like to add is like people actually thinking about going into core. So it's a pretty good time to like explore core because there's a lot of money flowing in, like real physical money flowing in. So like I recently heard the news that Nvidia would overtake Apple to become the second most valuable company. So a lot of money investors are pouring in. So it's a good time to go into core if you feel like it. And in India also, they're also targeting a boom if China attacks Taiwan, don't know. But yeah. There's a question, it seems. Do we need to be good at
Yeah,
CP for
there's a
coding around
question
of
from
core
Shiva.
companies?
Please ask. That
So
do you?
I'll take it, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, not exactly for all the companies. So competitive programming, what I saw was most of the companies do not ask. So as Santhan mentioned, JLR does have a coding round. They ask some questions of coding. So there you'll need some coding that you should know. You should be pretty thorough with first year stuff. That is the basics. That is for every profile. But moving forward, if you're not setting for APT, I do not know whether they would come this year, but if you're targeting APT, then why you're typing hardware? But okay, if you're targeting APT in hardware, then they actually have a coding round, like not exactly a coding round, but they have questions related to Python. Their test is more software inclined than hardware inclined, as you would expect from an HFT. Like they have DSA stuff there. So like core DSA stuff, so you need a level up from your first year stuff. Then there are questions related to OOPS implementation in Python, like especially OOPS implementation in Python. So you can watch, let's say, 3 to 4 hour video to get through it. You should have some, let's say, hands-on experience with how OOPS is actually implemented in Python and like how to define classes and let's say what are the common pitfalls during OOPS. So yeah, that would be pretty much it. So not really necessary for any other company. Second question, which one should I prepare? Analog, digital, DSP? Which one has max opportunity? So I would say that if you're talking about opportunities, then VLSI does have great opportunity than signal processing and communications, both. So like VLSI companies are more and then they come also. So analog and digital should be a must. You should prepare. And if you're a BTech student, then it's a must. You should prepare both. So I had these questions from BTech guys that we are more focused towards digital, so should we prepare only digital? If you want to land a CDC intern and you're sitting at the end of your second year, the interviewer rarely have anything to ask you. Like I'm not expecting anything extra from you guys, like any project or something. So it's all about your coursework. So at least give him that option that he can ask from analog or digital. Other than that, you can, so like signal processing profile, there's one in TI, but they have really core signal processing things. So at least if you're not into signal processing that much, I wouldn't say to keep your bet on that single profile. But yeah, there's 1 or 2 companies that come for their digital signal processing also. Third is 8.5 plus CGPA safe for civil. Yeah, safe, yeah, absolutely safe actually. 8.5 plus would land you like interviews or let's say tests at least for any of the companies that come in CDC. Generally discouraging towards core. Why do you think that is, and how do those opinions hold true? I mean, like, actually, what I'd say that everyone in KGP, the students, even us, like, we are at a very early stages in our career. So, like, if you talk to somebody who has been in the industry for, let's say, 10, 15 years, they'll tell you that it is rarely the thing that whatever you get your placement in, you continue with that industry in all your lifetime. People usually change industries at like pretty much every level, from intern to placement, even after placements. And so like going into core should be based out of your interest, and people discourage because there are less people going into core as such. And I mean, even seniors in core are pretty less. So like if you have a genuine interest, you will be able to pave your way. And actually then it's a double-edged sword, as I mentioned. If there's only a few people running your race, then it's a great chance that you can stand out of them. So like you can't take your bet and put in whole effort, you'll land up somewhere, because in general the field is pretty buzzing right now. Then last question is, any other softwares other than LT Spice and Verilog required for ECE code? I mean, like if you want to explore EC core, I would really say you to download Vivado. So Vivado is something that is used in industry also, and is has also an academic license that is provided to you by the institute. So if you want to really explore core, then I would advise you to download Vivado and try a few stuff there. And apart from that, if you're talking just about internships and placement, LT Spice and Verilog are pretty much it. So any project on LT Spice and Verilog would do a good favor in terms of SE. That should be pretty much it. Then don't have any projects, so how should I tackle to go to VLSI design? Uh, okay, so like VLSI design exactly is not what companies come for. So okay, so like let me clear this myth. So actually, what people think is they want to prepare for a certain very specific thing in core, and then they will land an internship there, and then they will work for it. But that's not usually how it happens. You are only taught the basic things here. So if you really want to go into VLSI design, you'll have to take a separate path where you, let's say, go out to the top journals in VLSI design and see what work is actually going on. That would actually like give you a perspective of where VLSI design is. And then VLSI design courses are there on NPTEL also, I would say. Like core VLSI design, there are courses on physical design that you can go into, but wouldn't say it's necessary for interns in any way. So like VLSI design is not exactly what people ask. They ask you analog and digital stuff itself, stuff that have been covered in your coursework. They wouldn't expect you to know VLSI design in order to be hired for VLSI design. They teach you all the stuff that's required for your job. And if you are welcoming and of learning sorts, then you should be pretty good to go. For us, is computer architecture basics required for ECU? That depends. So like if you're in your third year, if you have completed your third year, then your computer architecture courses would have been done by now. So like obviously they would like expect you to get into like computer architecture and know some stuff there. But even if it's not covered, then it's a plus to actually have knowledge of computer architecture, because like the way it is taught even now in KGP is pretty outdated. So they teach you stuff like pipelining and all, but like right now it's not where industry is. Industry is like, let's say, building CPUs or GPUs. So if you really want to go into computer architecture, take a different route, take NPTEL, or not even NPTEL, take let's say MIT OpenCourseWare. That's a pretty good resource that you can use. Like they have really good courses on industry level computer architecture, even like not industry level, but let's say the more recent ones than what KGP teaches you. So if you have time, then you can really explore computer architecture. It will always be a plus, but like if you're short on time and BTech, then there's no need to go into computer architecture. Is C dot come for internship? That you would have to ask place comps which company is coming or not. Don't think C dot comes. C dot like C dot is what company? Mechanical or chemical or electronics? I don't even know. Do you guys have heard of this company?
No, I don't know.
No. Yeah, don't know. That's the place comps. Maybe they'll be able to answer better. Companies like TI, Analog Digital, Qualcomm, do we need to learn DSA? I mean, programming beyond first year PDS course? No, not needed, not needed. Never needed. So like if you have first year PDS course and you know basics of C++, then it should be okay. Only programming you need to learn, and that would help you more than DSA is Verilog. So if you have working knowledge of Verilog, that would be pretty good. Yeah, that is, I think, pretty much it.
Yeah, and try to keep in touch with the place comms that are there, and also sign into the CDC notice board and MFTP, whatever is there. And there are some extensions because during the CV making time and all, and even during the CDC, of course, you have to log into your maybe 50, 60 times a day. So there are extensions that can log in easily. So don't waste time in all this stuff, even just do this.
What to learn in digital profile? Okay, so like, I mean, I think for you guys also, Gautam sir might have taken the digital course. So all of your course stuff is pretty important and to be gone through religiously, I would say. Learn all that, and then there are past year questions. Yeah, you'll find. So if you go on to, obviously I'll share that link. It's one of in the, like it's It's in one of the core PD articles, but I'll just take out that link and share with you guys in the chat box so you can take it from it. When online coding tests start for this year, as the place comes, that I will know. Any suggestion for industrial? I don't think we would be able to give any insights on those guys, Indo guys.
For Indo-wise, I think they're readily taken in. Like I mean, there are a lot of secular companies that are open for them, and then they're readily taken in supply chain based companies like ITC and HUL, PNG because they have pretty good knowledge of supply chain. I think they cover good number of courses before the third year or second year. One point like I would like to add regarding this core thing is that usually many people don't prefer core as seniors say because like core people are generally at least for chemical and mechanical they're paid less when compared to software guys. So other thing is the opportunities in core have decreased over time. But then like to be honest, the efforts you need to put in core is actually comparatively less because you do not build anything from scratch. You're already learning it as a part of your curriculum. You just need to brush up a few things and then like actually explore few other things to make yourself eligible enough in this profile. So this is one thing because like many people go behind money, but the thing is like if you're actually interested, at least for chemical, initially you would be paid less, but then your pay would be increasing exponentially with your experience as you join the company.
Where to practice questions for the written test rounds of VC course companies. Okay, so I'll just find the link and paste it here. Give me a minute, just a second.
And one thing, there's a like general thing that goes in campus that like core students are like paid less. That's why many of them don't like to go to core. But I would say like the longevity in core profiles is more than the others. I'm not saying like that's in general, but yeah, because like in software, even if you're from tier two colleges, they also have a very good like competition with you. So if you have a core mechanical profile, I would stick to it. And you like you have a very good labs here, and you get very nice practical and hands-on skills. So if you are in a company, you get promoted very fast, and like you are obviously preferred over the others. So yeah, that's obviously a greater thing you should keep in mind. And if I say in jailer for specifically, so yeah, just a minute. So like jailer is expanding currently to the other parts of India. They're keeping their testing bases, test bases, and their manufacturing factories are being settled up in Tamil Nadu. You may have heard the news, and assembly industries are also being set up. So yeah, there's always a larger scope. If you join core companies at this point, you're trying to shift to India.
Yeah, so I was telling that I've pasted the link itself in the chat box. So there you'll find all the placement materials. A lot of questions there. You'll not feel short of questions anytime soon, I would say. So you can practice it from there. You can practice your aptitude questions. I think we missed out on. I mean, people usually do not take care of their aptitude when they're preparing for core profile, but I would say that you should not, let's say, take it any lighter than whatever you're preparing for core. So aptitude is that common ground that every company asks. So do go to GFG and their puzzle section, and every interviewer in every interview till date asks from there only. So there are some 80 puzzles or something. Just go through them and try to like get yourself click on where what the logic is and what you need to answer when the question comes up.
Yeah, into the
Thanks a
jailer
lot
also has
for
an
the
aptitude section, so that's required for mechanical guys too.
Thanks a lot, all the panelists. I'm sure that these answers has a lot of gain. We have got a lot of gain from these answers. Now, Janta, before we wrap up this seminar, we have got some exciting news to share. We are organizing a panel discussion on data profile on 8 June, that is tomorrow, and we'd love to see you all there. Thank you.
Congratulations to all the panelists on their internship, and thank you for the invaluable insights. Immense gratitude to our engaging audience. Thank you so much.